Alright guys, so I am going to talk to you today about Instagram. It is a big question that gets asked a lot as to what the heck do you do with your Instagram when it comes to niching down or adding a new genre or wanting to just pivot into something completely different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I did. Your situation may be different, take it with a grain of salt, and then I'm going to walk you through my feeds and how I made that transition. But I want to briefly talk about why this is such a big stressor for so many photographers and what to do with your Instagram. It's I don't know, we all freak out about it. So one thing that I sort of had to walk through in my own mind as to why I was afraid to niche down is that we're afraid to commit. Committing to one thing can mean leaving out potential other pockets of income, right? It's okay, if we pick one thing, am I losing out? Am I going to be able to make it on this one income? For me, if you know my story, I was ready to say goodbye to weddings and families. So I knew it was kind of a do or die. But again, I had this mindset of what am I going to do with my Instagram? What should I do? I don't know. What if I alienate the clients that I'm currently finishing up? Because even though I said no more weddings and families, I still had some of those previously booked. So how am I going to deal with this? So what made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside and okay with this was to keep my original photography Instagram that had the most followers, biggest audience, and make that the one that I was going to eventually phase into branding photography. Now, a lot of those people following me may not have been interested in brand photography. Maybe they were my wedding clients, maybe they were my family clients, or whatever. For me, I wanted to make my audience as wide as possible, so I kept that for branding. And what I ended up doing, I'm going to show you through here, is creating 2 other Instagram accounts, one for wedding photography and one for my families. And so what that did is it allowed me to continue to share those images because I had it in my mind that they were going to be upset if I didn't post their images from our sessions that I was phasing out. So I created those with the knowing, with the intention that if I ever wanted to close those, I could in the future, because for me, I wanted to eventually niche down to branding photography solely. So let's walk through this. So this is a picture of my Instagram feed, Jessie Wyman photos, when I was still shooting weddings and families. And you can see I started to get into branding, but it's kind of a hodgepodge. It's okay, is she a family photographer? Is she an engagement photographer? Wedding photographer? I don't know. So this was kind of around the point where I was deciding if I wanted to niche down, if not. So let's take a little bit of a peek on how I did this. So around this time, I decided, okay, I know I want to do branding, and I would say it was probably right around in here. Was I think this is one of the last wedding photos I've posted. So what I ended up doing is then creating 2 additional accounts, Jessie Wyman Weddings, where I was posting the rest of my wedding client photos. You can see the last one I posted was back in, when was this? June of 2019. And then I created one for my families. So that's what I did. Made me feel good and fuzzy. And by the time I fully niched down, I never post on these. I could probably delete them. I probably should, but it's whatever. So then you can start to see how then I really transitioned into commercial and branding work. I was experimenting still at the time with what I wanted that to be in terms of branding and commercial work. I experimented with some interior photography, some flat lays, but then I really started getting into more of the brands. I started portfolio building, so I have a lot of images for my portfolio builds, some product photography, but that's the type of work I wanted to get at that time. So what I'm telling you to do is niche down and only show what you want to shoot more of. Because if you continue to show families, if you continue to show weddings, if you continue to show work, people are going to assume that you're still able to be hired for that type of work. And now you can see that my feed is solely branding. It's all about branding and business and entrepreneurship. I do have a podcast, so I occasionally post about that, but it's all about work that I want to do, and occasionally me sprinkled in there. We should all do that, right? So that's what I do. If you're at a point where you're ready to switch over your Instagram feed and you're totally new to branding photography and you're I don't even know what I want to post, then I encourage you to go ahead and grab my free Instagram captions guide. I will link it up into the comments and get started. These are copy and paste. You want to obviously tweak it to your needs, but these are 50 Instagram captions that really helped me build authority in the brand photography space. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Like this video, comment on this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to go ahead and link up these captions, and if you need more resources, check out the brandphotographermethod.com. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this gives you some clarity and confidence moving forward with your Instagram. Don't let it hold you up. Make a decision and go with it.